Hi, this is Mr. Urrego. And then we're going to factor this trinomial. This trinomial is the form of 8x squared plus bx plus c. The issue with this trinomial is that you have a leading coefficient other than 1, so the process is kind of a little bit longer, I guess. Many ways how to factor. The easiest way for me, at least, is a long process, but it's an easy way how to follow it, is factor this using grouping. But again, to use grouping, I need 4 terms. And I only have 3. I have a trinomial, so I need to turn this trinomial into a polynomial with 4 terms. To do that, my first step will be the following. I need to multiply these 2 numbers, and that's going to be my product. The sum is going to be the middle value, always. Okay, that's an 8. So the product is between 4 and negative 60, which is going to give you negative 240. And here lies the bigger problem. I have a huge number as a product. So 2 numbers that multiply, you get negative 240, but when you add, you get 8. I have no idea. So what's going to happen? Here's a process. A lot of people start just doing not even the calculator. They start thinking, all right, negative 24 times 10, all right, and keep going. But sometimes they repeat the same numbers over and over again without noticing. And they take a lot of time. They spend a lot of time here, and sometimes they don't get to the numbers. So I'm going to show you kind of a little process. Hopefully it's going to work out to get the numbers, or at least you're not going to repeat the same numbers over and over again. So let's do it one at a time. Okay. The idea is 2 numbers that you multiply get negative 240. The first one is negative 240 times 1. Okay. Now, before we continue, should the 240 be negative or positive? The 1 should be negative or positive. How do I know? Negative 240. Then we check those 2 numbers in our sum. Negative 240 plus 1 is going to give you negative 239, right? Negative 239. If you notice, it's giving me a negative value, and my sum has to be positive. Therefore, I don't want my big number to be negative. I want my small number to be negative. 240 minus 1 is 239. All right, a little better. It's not the numbers, but at least I have the positive. I have the same sign. Okay, here we go, comes the process. After that, what you do is you divide by 2 here, and you multiply by 2 over there. Divide 240 divided by 2, divided by 2. If you divide by 2 here, it's going to give you 120. If you divide by 2 here, you multiply by 2 on the other side. Negative 1 times 2 is going to give you negative 2. So the process is that you divide by 2 here, multiply by 2 there. You divide by 2 here, multiply by 2 there. Why? Because the product is going to stay constant. 120 times negative 2 is negative 240. It's not going to change. And then you check if you get the 8. 120 minus 2 is not 8. Keep going. Divided by 2. 60 times 2, negative 4. I know that I get 60 times negative 4 is negative 240. So by doing this process of divided by 2 and times 2, my product is not going to change. All right, that's the idea. Let's keep going. Oh, 60 minus 4, not 8. Divided by 2, 30. Times 2, negative 8. Let's check. 30 minus 8, not yet. Divided by 2, 15. Times 2, negative 16. Ooh. 15 minus 16 is negative 1. It's a small number compared to the previous one. 30 minus 8 is 22, right? So we got too close. Maybe we passed it already, the numbers. Who knows? Let's try it out. All right? The idea is that I'm not repeating the same 2 numbers. Can I divide the 15 by 2? No, by 3. It's going to give me 5. If I divide by 3 here, I multiply by 3 here. Times 3. That's going to give me negative 48. Ooh, okay. Let's find out the sum. 5 minus 48 is negative 43. And I exploded. I went too big again. I want my 2 numbers to be close so I can get an 8. So far it's not working. All right? And that was the idea, to have a big number. That's the reason I'm doing this problem. So when that happens, don't go crazy. Don't get frustrated. Just go back, and instead of dividing by 2, you start dividing by a different number. and you'll get those. So over here, let's divide by 3. For example, by 3, 30 divided by 3 is going to give you 10. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. And the sum is negative 14. Alright, we got close. Not too bad. But they're not the numbers. So instead of divided by 3 here, divided by 3 here. 6 divided by 3. 20. Negative 4 times 3. Negative 12. Ooh. Alright, let's straight that out. 20 minus 12. Woohoo! And we got the numbers. Alright? Sometimes it's not short, but again, you're not wasting time over and over and over and over again because you know what numbers you use already. So what are my numbers? That's right. 20 and negative 12. So I have my two numbers. And again, this is just the beginning of the process. So when you have a big number like that, that's how you start, getting those two. And that's going to be most of the work, okay? So now I'm going to erase this and we're going to factor the whole trinomial. Okay, so we find that our numbers are 20 and negative 12 throughout that long process. All right, so let's continue. 12 times negative 12 is negative 240. I'm sorry, 20 minus 12. 20 times negative 12 is negative 240. 20 minus 12 is 8. So my two numbers are this. So let's continue the process. Rewrite my trinomial, 8x minus 60. I'm using those two numbers to break the middle one. I'm breaking the 8x into 20x minus 12x. Okay? Bring down the first term. The 20 is positive, okay, and bring down the last term. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. I do grouping. Grouping, I group the first two terms and the last two terms. All right, and on each one of them, I want to do greatest common factor, GCF. Common factor between the 4 and the 20. I believe the 4 is into the 20. So the 4 is a common factor. X squared x, I bring down the x. And now let's start dividing. 4x squared divided by 4x, you get x, plus 20x divided by 4x, 20 divided by 4 is 5, and the x is cancelled. So I have done that. Alright, cool. Now, when I'm doing grouping, remember, once I do the common factor here, my two parentheses have to be the same. And you'll see that in a minute. Alright, keep going. Anything in common? The negative. You see that? The negative is common, so I take the negative as a common factor. Alright. The 12. Is the 12 into the 60? 12, 24, 36, 48, 60. Yes, is this? So the 12 is a common factor. You always check if this small number is into a bigger number. If it is, then that's your common factor. Is the x common? Nope, not common, so I open my parentheses. Alright. Negative 12x divided by negative 12, x. Negative 60 divided by negative 12, positive 5. And this is what I meant before. These two parentheses have to be the same. Okay, don't force it. Make sure you just get it throughout the process. Those two parentheses need to be the same. If they are the same, we're doing grouping right. Alright, cool. Next and last step. Technically, and I always say that, technically you have 2 terms now. That's it, not 4 anymore. Alright, you have 1, this is a big term and that's a big term. And we're going to do greatest common factor again. Is there anything in common between this thing and that thing? Yes, the parenthesis is common. So I'm going to solve it over here. So my parenthesis, I would do it on the bottom, but there's no more space. Okay, so that's why I'm putting it on the side. The parenthesis is common, therefore I bring it here, and then I open a parenthesis, like I did over here, you know, my common factor, and then I open parenthesis. First term divided by parenthesis. That parenthesis cancels with this, and I have 4x left. Alright, cool. Second parenthesis, second term including the minus, divided by this parenthesis. Parentheses, parentheses cancel out, and I have left minus 12. Okay, so that's how it goes, and this should be your final answer. Now, if you got confused with the last step, there's a shorter way how to do it. You have this already, right? This, you have it. You're doing great because the two parentheses are the same. Then what you think is, all right, parentheses are the same, let me bring one over here. And whatever's on the outside of those two parentheses goes on the second parenthesis. The 4x minus 12 goes on the second parenthesis, and that's your answer. Okay, so that's how you factor trinomials when a is different from 1 using grouping. Again, grouping, I have a video for all grouping, just a video for grouping so you understand grouping. Greatest common factor, I have videos just doing in greatest common factor so you understand the concept. You need those two concepts so you can approach this, like I said, little monsters. All right? Okay, oops. I forgot something that I shouldn't forget. I just factored this, 4x squared plus 8x minus 60, and I arrived to this answer. Now, there's a rule. You always have to check the parentheses on the inside. You always have to check the parentheses inside to see if there's any more factoring. Okay? So, let's check. X plus 5, there's nothing in there, but look at the 4x minus 12. You have a greatest common factor here, greatest common factor, so I need to factor that out. Because every time you're factoring, even though they don't ask you to factor completely, you have to factor completely, meaning check everything. So, the x plus 5 is going to remain as x plus 5, but here the 4 is a common factor. So, 4x, so the 4 is a common factor, the x is not a common factor. 4x divided by 4 gives you x, minus 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that will be the complete factorization, okay? Now, this process, this trinomial, I factored the long way. Why? Because I want to show. I didn't do greatest common factor on purpose in the beginning, but then I forgot at the end. I didn't do it on purpose in the beginning because I want to get those huge numbers that we got. And that's how we ended up with that huge process. Okay, the idea was to show you how to break down the numbers and go through all the process. But then I forgot how to do it, greatest common factor at the end, which I shouldn't have done that. Okay, there's an easy way how to do that, shorter way. But again, I want to do it the long way so I can show you the process when you have those big monsters. All right, thank you for watching. I'll be learning from these videos. If you do, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notifications bell so you get notified as soon as we upload videos. Visit our webpage, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, share this video, please. Put it on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, share with your friends, your family. Help us reach a lot of people so we can get a lot of subscribers and a lot of views. That's going to support our channel. That's the idea. We help you, you help us. All right? Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.